It's the Becky and Boca Show, coming to you live every Thursday night at 6 p.m. from glamorous downtown Boca Raton. I'll show you how to live life in style in one of the country's most elegant cities, nestled right along the beautiful Atlantic beaches between Palm Beach and Miami. So sit back, relax, and let me show you how to indulge yourself Boca style. Hello, welcome to the Becky and Boca Show. I'm very excited tonight because I have two guests, but my first guest, everybody's going to know who she is. It's Eve Plum from Brady Bunch fame. And here she is. I'm so excited to interview her. And then the next half hour, I have Dr. Art Handel, plastic surgeon, coming up. He's going to talk to us about doing fat grafting instead of facial fillers. So that'll be fun too. So let's get started with Eve. I'm so thrilled to meet you.
Thank you.
Because when I was a kid, we had 4 kids in our family. We would all sit in front of the TV on, what night was the show on?
I think it was on Friday night.
Friday night. Okay, we would line up on that couch once a week and watch you. Mm-hmm. And how many years was it on the first time?
It was only broadcast first run 5 years, but it's really never been off the air.
I know. My kids watch it. I have a 21-year-old and a 25-year-old, and they watched it growing up, too. And that's why you are iconic, because I can say your name, and everybody knows who you are. Everybody, all ages. Nice. So I'm just thrilled to have you here.
Thank you.
I never would have thought in Chicago, sitting in front of that TV, I would eventually be interviewing you.
See?
So I'm very happy about that. And you are in South Florida because you are now producing some very nice artwork.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
And you have a gallery opening Saturday night at the Bilotta Gallery, which is in Fort Lauderdale. And you can go down there, everybody, and meet Eve and see her work and purchase her work. And I will be there, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her collection. So let's talk. We'll talk a little bit about your artwork first, and then I want to go back and talk about your acting career, because everybody has been sending me questions all week because they're thrilled to hear about that.
Sure.
So how did you get into doing painting?
Well, there's a lot of downtime when you're an actor. You can't
between jobs.
Between jobs, as we like to say. Because you never really know when the next one's going to come along. So I was sort of looking for something to do that didn't cost a lot of money. That was it's something that I can do on my own time, in my own way, and that I have complete control over. You don't have complete control over your acting career.
Right, but it is a creative outlet, just like acting.
Oh, yes.
So I assume that's why you were...
It's something I was able to teach myself how to do and work through the difficult parts, and something that was just definitely all me.
So you're self-taught, and so how did you start? What was your first painting, or how did you even...
I've been painting and drawing since I was a kid, and then I would start copying other paintings, and then I looked at books, and I asked other artists. Usually artists are very forthcoming with their techniques and tips, because I might tell you how to do something, and then once you do it, it comes out completely different. It's not as if we're going to really be able to copy each other.
Sure.
So it just kept at it. Just kept me interested enough to keep at it, and then I liked it well enough to show other people. So I started doing that, and then I started getting galleries, and here we are.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's only been 20 years.
So where do you paint? You have a studio?
I don't have a studio right now.
You don't have a studio?
No.
You did have a studio, though. I think I was reading about that.
Well, we used to live in Laguna Beach, and I had a small room that was my studio.
Okay.
And now we live in a small one-bedroom, so I have probably a 4-foot by 6-foot corner of the living room.
That's
as my
your studio.
So I sort of fold things up and put them away, and then I pull them out. I have to take over the dining room table half the time.
My husband keeps his computer on my dining room table. It drives me crazy, but
so it's the same thing. That's definitely shared space, where sometimes it's art, sometimes it's taxes, sometimes we actually eat at the dining room table.
Right. Okay, so you do all your painting in there.
Yeah.
And how long does it take you to complete a work? Is it something that you will work on for months, or do you sit down and do it all at once?
It depends on the style and the size, because I have several different styles. This is a still life.
Can we hold that up?
Yeah, that's it. Still
I can
life.
hold it. I love this one. Here, if you give it to me, I can hold it right over here, and it'll...
There you go. All right. Yeah.
Not
so that's
all
a still
camera,
life.
But
that's a still life. Tilt it forward a little bit, maybe. Tilt it tilt to top, top down, top down, top down. Not left, right. There you go. That's better. Okay, yeah. So
See, she's been on TV a long time, not
there
me.
you go. So okay, you can put it down. You're gonna have to.
Okay.
So anyway, so that's a still life, and so that takes a while in that it evolves from a sketch, and there are several layers of that. Other ways I'll do is something called alla prima, which means all at once, where you're sort of doing something fast and
you
loose,
just
and you just do it like that. Sometimes I did some big pieces for me as large as 30 inches by 40 inches, and that took a long time, especially in the little apartment, because
Wow.
it's so hard to get far enough away
To see it?
to see what I'm doing that I'd have to take them downstairs and take them outside to look at them to really get an
wow.
idea of whether I was making the shadows and highlights right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And is it all the same medium that you use?
It's all oil on canvas.
Okay.
Yeah. I have mainly stayed with that. It's very versatile. It's very, has a lot of range in it. I've tried others. I started out with acrylics, and then I went to a paint called casein, which is actually a milk-based paint.
I was reading about that.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's sort of an ancient paint. It's a milk-based paint, and it comes in artists or there are house paints with it. It's very non-toxic. It's also, you can re-wet it and move it
what I
around,
was
sort of
reading.
like a gouache.
So you can change it even after it's dry?
After it's dry, yeah, you re-wet it, and then that changes the color. So that'll really teach you about color, because if you've got a pale red and you wet it, then it's very vivid red, and then so you're trying to figure out, okay, what is this going to look like when it's dry? So
Right.
making the shape. It's a challenge to work with.
Okay.
Oil stays the same out of the tube to dry. It's the same color.
Okay, so you prefer working with
So I
that.
prefer working with that or to watercolors. Watercolors is a completely different mindset that I haven't been able to be willing to get past the hard part to work with.
Okay. So how do you get inspired about the subject for your, I was reading about it, but I want you to tell us.
Mainly it's just mainly with the still lifes, it's mainly just small moments from my life.
Something you see.
Something I see, the way the light falls on it. I'm always taking pictures. It's so funny because back in the day, I used to take pictures and then take the film, have that develop, and get the 4x6 and see if I got a good one. And now you
just got it on your phone.
and now I can crop it. I can change it. I actually now use the phone as my reference because I work from photographs. So even more than my tablet, because I can prop the phone up. I have my photograph and I can zoom in.
Right.
And the resolution on the photographs is so clear down to the smallest detail that then I can see whether that's the end of the table leg or is that the
That's
rug.
amazing
yeah.
that you copied to that detail.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, I
this
don't necessarily have to make that choice, but I could.
Yeah, this one that you just showed us, I would imagine it's difficult to get all the little squares.
Oh, the plaid tablecloth.
Yeah,
I've
that would be a challenge.
Plaid tablecloth a couple of times.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing it, I think, well, why did I?
Why? Yeah, I would
Because plaid,
I'd go with
and
a
this
solid.
is just red and white. And
Yeah.
plaid, if you'll notice, what I love about plaid is that it'll have 3 or 4 colors, and as they weave over each other, where they
Over
cross,
and
they
under.
create a new color. So if you have a yellow line and a blue line, you've got a green square in the
Right.
middle.
Right.
That plus then the weave of the lay of the fabric, you've got to indicate that, where the highlight and shadow on that, and how that affects the color.
Right.
So it's a real challenge.
Yeah, but I guess it gives it a better
It
look
does.
than if you did the solid.
If you can do it to your own satisfaction, it's very, very satisfying.
Okay, great. All right, let's go back. We'll go back and forth between your acting career and artwork here because I know people are dying to hear about that. You started at what age? I remember
I was
really young.
Well, I was 6 when I started. But
Is that when they started the Brady Bunch?
No, I was 10 when I did Brady Bunch.
10,
So I
okay.
had already done several television shows. I'd done, there were shows, somebody will remember back in the days when it was all Westerns were all on TV. So I
Yeah.
did shows like The Big Valley.
Oh, yeah, I
And
remember that.
the Virginian. And a
At
show
6
called-
years old, so you
Yeah, 6, 7, 8, I did a lot of TV commercials, a lot of Mattel
How did
commercials.
you get into, I guess it was your parents?
Children's agent moved in next door to us.
You're kidding.
Sent me on an audition and I got the job.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, and I've been working ever since.
And you lived in LA?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then how did you get the Brady Bunch?
Same thing. I'd been working for 4 years. You go on an audition. I'd actually done a couple of pilots, shows that didn't sell.
That didn't- okay.
The Dick Tracy show was one of them. The Barbara Rush show was another, where I
Oh,
played
yeah?
her daughter. And that didn't get picked up. So this was another audition for another pilot, and we got it and did the pilot. And
You're not
then-
expecting anything?
No, didn't expect it at all. But that was the one that worked.
Oh, that was great, though. That was
Yeah.
that was my childhood. I mean, it's really amazing. Amazing show. So that went on for 10 years.
5 years.
5 years, okay. And it feels like it's been on forever because,
has
like
been.
I know it
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. Kids of all ages.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like I said, my kids listened to it or watched it, and I watched it growing up. So your name is iconic in America. It's just like say your name and everybody knows who you are. So that's fantastic. That must have really helped you in your career after that.
It does and it doesn't. People think they know you. They think they know, who you are, what you look like. So
Because you played that
right,
role.
because you played that role, and
And that's who you are.
So
Yeah.
who knows? But no, I've been fortunate enough to work a lot since then. I did TV movies and other series and
Yeah,
plays.
I was reading it, and lots.
And movies and things. So, as long as you can get in on an audition, you've got a better chance of getting a job. So,
Right, so
I
they
just
were- yeah.
auditioned for everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So what did you do right after the Brady Bunch?
It was a TV movie called Dawn Portrait of a Teenage Runaway.
Oh.
About a girl who runs away from home and ends up being a prostitute on the streets of Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how old were
Yeah.
you when you played that role?
I was 17 until 3 days into filming, and then I turned 18 on the set. And then the whole rules change because until you're 18, you have to have your guardian on the set. You have to have 3 hours a day of schooling. School's in session, and you can only work an 8-hour day with 1
Oh.
hour for recreation, which is usually lunch. So all those rules were followed up until the day,
you
and then
turned
the
18.
next day, they were like, "Okay, you're here at 6, and you leave at 6." If
Oh,
that's
my
the way the day works.
gosh.
You know?
Oh.
It was great. It was great that
Wow.
I was an adult.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. So, okay, and you've been in a lot of movies, TV stuff.
Yeah,
and-
TV stuff, TV movies. I was in a movie called Blue Ruin that went to Sundance, which was great. I was just in 3 or 4 episodes of a show that's on Hulu called The Path.
Yeah, I was talking to your
Yeah.
husband about that. I'm going to
Yeah.
look that up. And what is
Yeah.
that about?
It's about you have to say it's about a cult, but they say it's a movement. It's not a cult; it's
Okay.
a movement. So it's a really sort of in-depth look at this fictional movement of people. And I was it was just finished its 2nd season, and so that's the season I was in, the 2nd season. And then I was
wow.
also on an episode of Blue Bloods that ran a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I saw that too online. That's
Yeah.
great. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're still in acting.
Yeah, that's all I really know how to do. That's painting.
No, you paint very well. You paint very well. Will there come a time when you prefer to just do the painting, or are you going to do
No,
both?
I think there's plenty
like
of time
both?
for both. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly going to come down to the gallery and
Oh,
look at all your
great.
things. I've
Thank
looked at
you.
a lot of them online,
Thanks,
and
yeah.
I love your style.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask you, is it all similar stuff, or do you do different styles?
I
or
do different styles. I'm not quite certain what all I have in this show. I think I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that in the show.
Okay,
I have
so
some
there's a
still.
variety.
It's mostly
Okay.
still lifes, but sometimes I'll experiment with a different style, whether I do it all like a black and white photograph or a looser paint or brighter colors or something like that.
And I know we don't want to talk price, but these are
This is actually affordable in the world
Right.
of art. Affordable is what's affordable for you.
Right.
But I sort of paint to something that I would afford size and price in my home. And so it's not in the art world, it's not expensive. So, it's also not wallpaper. So people
it's
are
the
like,
stuff,
that's
yeah.
a small painting, it's expensive. Well, it's not wallpaper. Okay.
Yeah, no,
You know?
it's very
Right,
nice stuff.
so,
And I spoke to some of my artist friends before I had you on
Oh, yeah.
here, and they said your work is very good.
Oh, thank you.
'Cause
That's
I
very
wanted
nice.
to get a
That's
a
very
professional's
nice. Yes.
view
Well,
of it.
yeah.
You do have a lot of talent, so
Thank you.
you could have gone either way,
or
acting or painting
or
or
just
both.
guts. You got to have a lot of
Yeah,
guts
it
too.
must have been brave to go out there
Yeah.
and all of a sudden say,
Yeah.
no.
It's mainly because, I just live with rejection all the time. I don't get parts. People don't buy the paintings, or they do. But you really get a sort of a tough skin, and especially with the paintings, I know I like them well enough, and if you don't like them, that's fine, because there's a lot of art I don't like.
Right. Oh, sure.
that's
it's all,
fine.
it's all what
You know?
people
Yeah.
prefer in art. So that's just very subjective.
Yeah.
So, so the gallery opening is, Frank told me it's a relatively new gallery, so it must be a
Yeah.
beautiful space.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it. And you'll be there with your
Yes.
pieces, and
Yes.
people can come and ask you questions and
Sure.
talk to you
Sure.
and look at your work. Okay. Anything else you can tell us fun about your acting career. I hate to keep going back to the Brady
all
Bunch,
right.
but people want to know, what was it like working with those kids?
That's why I'm so disappointing, because I don't have a great memory for all of that.
Are you still in touch with the other?
Occasionally,
actors?
Occasionally we're friendly, but it's sort of like, staying in touch with your grade school friends. You don't really do that. But friendly, yeah.
Yeah. And you're no longer living in California now.
No, live in New York City now.
Okay. And there are a lot of galleries up there. I bet you're having fun.
There are, but New York is a completely different market than what I do. I call
really?
my stuff non-confrontational art. And New York has a lot of that, very modern art that is conceptual and isn't necessarily a still life where you understand that it's some salt shakers or a bowl of fruit or something. The very simple things that I do. It's more about a piece of
But
green,
I consider yours modern art.
String in the corner, and
wouldn't
that's
yours
the
be
art,
considered
$10,000.
modern? It looks like contemporary.
No,
I'm not an artist, so I don't know.
I don't know exactly what the genre is. It's not quite realism, because it's not, and it's not hyper realism. But it's realistic. So I don't know what box it checks. I just say still life, representational.
Were you always interested in art when you were a kid? Did you?
Yeah. And my mother, we would travel, and my mother would always take me to museums, and she was always encouraging me to draw. So I was looking at art from a very early age.
Okay, so that's why you had an interest in it. Even when you were a kid, and then later. I love the fact that later on you developed this whole new career.
Right.
Most people would just stay with one thing.
These days you have to do more than one thing, I think. Yeah.
And I can understand with acting. I know friends, in the TV business, and you have a job when you have a job, and then when it's gone, you don't know how long it's going to be.
Right.
And you occupy yourself with your artwork, I assume, in the interim.
Definitely.
So that's fantastic. Okay, back to the Brady Bunch. Did you ever date any of the guys, or were you interested? No, none of that.
No.
Were you guys friends on set, or just you came to work?
No, we were friends on set, but yeah.
I know somebody that lived near the Brady Bunch house in L.A., and that's like still a place where they take tours by and people go to see it.
Yeah.
But that you didn't film there.
No, that was just the picture they showed from the outside.
And I love the house that the typical 70s, the bright orange kitchen and all of that, and the colored windows and the stairs. It was just such a 70s and part of my childhood type thing.
Right.
Fantastic. But you probably don't even see it that way because you were
right.
in it.
When you're in it, you just don't see it. It's just sort
you don't see it like everybody else
what
sees
happened.
It. Right. And as a kid, you probably just
right.
This is what I do every day. Where I saw it as a come on my TV once a week, there in my living room.
Right.
And fantastic. Okay, so you did the Brady Bunch, then you did other shows,
right?
And then how long ago did you start the painting?
Probably when I was about 25 was when I really started experimenting with the acrylics and copying things out of books and kept doing it and teaching myself and learning more and more and deciding what I wanted to do. It started with a series of I would paint from 1950s magazines and ads.
I saw some of those. Yeah, I love those.
Ads from the magazines because I have a love of history and vintage stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I love those too.
So I did a lot of those, a lot of 1950s stuff. And then I moved into photographing the collectibles that I had around the house. And then sort of branched out into restaurant scenes. And I'm still taking pictures. I was actually just looking at a photograph because at my house, I'd pulled open the top rack of the dishwasher, and we have several colored little bowls, like green bowls, and the way they were all sort of arranged, and I was looking at that thinking, well, now, how would I make that look interesting and not be confusing with all the racks and the gray and the squares, and maybe that one doesn't happen. But maybe the one I took of the tomatoes on our dark countertop with the light, the way that was hitting, that might really
I like
be something.
what you do with the light in the paintings.
Thanks.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
How did you go from, okay, I'm just painting for fun to I'm going to put my work in galleries and sell it?
I just sort of, I can't really remember. I didn't really contact. It's sort of one of those things how, you just, you follow a string, you pull a string.
Yeah.
I had entered a painting in something and somebody noticed it. And then she had a gallery that was a photography gallery that she gave over to a painter. And then a gallery in Massachusetts picked me up. And then we went to an art fair, and another gallery picked me up, and I was in a magazine. And then, so it's sort of word of mouth is how it's happened.
And then, and now I was looking, you're showing your work in a lot of different galleries all over the place, all over the country.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you have coming up other than Fort Lauderdale?
Well, there's Arizona, there's Tennessee, there's Virginia. So I'm probably going to be doing shows within the next 6 to 8 months.
And do you fly to all these places?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a lot of work, but
it
it's
is.
fun.
But
it's fun because this is what you enjoy.
Yeah, Scottsdale is nice. And, And Chattanooga is nice, and Fort Lauderdale is nice.
Yeah,
so it's nice to get to go to all these places.
So when you have these openings, you go there and you just you're like a hostess for your work.
Sort
and
of,
you
yeah.
Explain the
talk about what I do, and then if they're interested in buying, I pass them on to the gallery owner. Because it's really better that I don't get involved with that. I don't know why, but that just is sort of it's a separation that sort of needs to happen somehow.
Yeah.
Between the person creating the work and the person selling the work.
Yeah, because you don't want somebody negotiating with you on something you created.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I could do it, but they might not like it.
Yeah, I guess that's better left to.
But something about it doesn't seem seemly somehow. I don't know why.
Yeah. So so they don't talk to you about price.
Right. Because actually I don't set the prices.
Right. The gallery sets them?
The gallery works it out, and because I don't really have a sense of what its worth is monetarily. Because it can seem like, wow, somebody is going to pay me for that on one hand. On the other hand, it's like somebody should pay me for that. Depends on the piece sometimes, but I would rather see them go out the door because they stack up, and that keeps me painting.
Right.
It's like having the audience. It's the final bit.
Sure.
You don't just rehearse a play to rehearse a play. You want to have the audience. You want to present your work.
Wow. How many pieces are you going to have in Fort Lauderdale on Saturday night?
I'm not sure. 7 to 10, maybe more. I can't remember the exact
number. And are they
number.
all different sizes? Like the one we just showed, what's that size?
That's about 18 by 24, maybe.
Okay.
And then there are some that are, there's a couple of pair paintings that are narrow and tall, but about that size range. Yeah.
Only 7 and 10. Oh, people, you got to get down there.
I think, yeah. I mean, I could be completely wrong, and I'll go outside and people will be like, you oughta.
I'll put it on my Facebook page if it's different.
Right.
Okay, I want to have my producer put the invitation up on the screen now, Freddie, for the gallery opening on Saturday. There it is. So it's the Bilotta Gallery, April 22nd, 2017. Meet the celebrity artists. And Richard Hurd is going to be there also, and Eve Plum. And it's 7 to 10 p.m. It's 2755 East Oakland Park Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale. And I'll give you the phone number real quick if anyone wants it. 631-875-0859 if you have any questions. And I'm going to be there, and Eve is going to be there, and we're all going to be looking at her beautiful artwork. And we have about 5 minutes left here, so let's go back to the Brady Bunch a little bit, because my people are going to kill me if I don't talk a little bit more about that, because that's what you're known for. And I know you understand that helps bring attention to your work, and it was such a part of everyone's childhood. So how to do one episode, how many hours did you have to spend on the set? That always confuses me. I don't know if it feels like it would be a full week to do one episode? Or?
Usually it was about a week, to do an episode.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were shooting with one camera, so.
Oh, one camera. Wow.
Yeah. Now, a lot of times now with the sitcoms, they use 3 or 4 cameras, and they just have that one set, and they can move, like something like Big Bang Theory, you'd have 4 cameras, and so that they can pick up all the angles at the same time. With one camera, you have to do it several times so that you see all the different angles and the close-ups and the over the shoulders and things like that.
So how many hours a day?
Well, since we were kids, we were only working 8 hours a day, and then they would shoot things. I think
seems like
afterwards.
a lot for a kid, though.
Right, but a usual shoot day can be about 12 hours. Wow. Yeah.
So was it fun for you as a kid?
Oh yeah.
Did you enjoy? Were you happy that you were doing that, or were you thinking, oh, I wish I was a regular kid? And
no, because there were other kids around. We sort of were regular kids.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And your schooling was on the set.
Yeah.
So how many hours a day did you have?
Well, when school was in session, it would be 3 hours a day, and we mostly shot during the summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So that means you didn't have to do it on set? Did you go to regular school in the off season? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
okay. I didn't know that. I just mentioned that you did this year round. Okay. And what was your favorite episode? I know you were featured in a lot of them that people remember.
Don't really have.
You don't have a favorite?
No.
You don't have a favorite? Mm-mm. And the iconic expression, you know how many people have said to me, Marsha, 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 when I told them you were going to be on. Did you like that one? Mm-hmm. That seems to be one of the more popular shows.
Right.
And are you good friends with her now? Do you see her often?
We don't, like I said, it's like
just like kids I went to school with.
Yeah.
I don't know why we all assume that everyone thinks you're a family. That's why, because in my mind, you were. So that was just incredible. I remember watching that and The Partridge Family.
Right.
So those were the two big shows of the 70s.
Definitely.
Okay, so anything else you want to tell us about your artwork? Because you're here to...
Just, if you like it, you can buy it.
If you like it, you can buy it. Okay, and I want everyone to come down there and see Eve. Like we said, it's the Bilotta Gallery, and it's this Saturday night, April 22nd, 7 to 10 p.m. We have a couple more minutes here. What else can I ask you about your artwork? Do you have a favorite piece that's going to be there?
Again, I don't play favorites. People ask me, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite thing? I don't have favorites. I have things that I like. Like somebody was asking me what was your favorite role, and I did a TV series that was of Little Women. And that was great because I worked with Edith Head, who was the costume designer.
Yeah.
I love doing Dawn Portrait of a Teenage Runaway because it broke me out of the Jan Brady role. I love doing The Path because I am working in New York. I did an episode of Law & Order SVU. How great to get to meet Mariska Hargitay. So you can't really pick a favorite. They're each wonderful for their own experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm certainly looking forward to your opening. And
thank you, me too.
I hope we see a lot of my people down there because this is your opportunity to meet her. Eve Plum, Jan Brady. You probably hate when I say that, but I have to because that's what everyone remembers you for. And that was a wonderful show and a piece of everyone's memory. So I am so happy to finally meet you after all these years, and I will see you Saturday night.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.